This is Sports Shorts Radio. It's the fastest 2 hours on the radio, covering it all from the Fighting Tigers of LSU to the tracks of NASCAR on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now, here's Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis, and Buzzy Heidel.
Working you.
And welcome, everyone, to this week's edition of Sports Shorts. Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis here with you. Happy New Year to everyone. 2019, first show of the year. As each and every week and every year, we're presented by LeBear's Casino in Baton Rouge, where New Year's Eve was off the hook over at LeBear's. It was absolutely packed. Even the Uber drivers were talking about how crowded and the traffic and all around LeBear's. It was a great time had by all. They got a band. I know you're not a big go out with the wife guy. You're more of a Netflix and chill kind of guy. But AM/FM, you ever heard of them?
Never.
They've been around about 6-7 years in the Baton Rouge area. They play all the usual haunts, the Cadillac, Edge Bar, LeBear's, blah, blah, blah. You know, they're kind of in that Allison Collins band, Werewolf, all that kind of stuff. The lead singer for AM/FM, best voice. And look, I just named a couple bands that are two of my favorites, but AM/FM, new favorite band in Baton Rouge.
They're from Baton Rouge.
Yeah. Yeah, the lead,
young guys,
the lead
older
singer,
guys.
Probably 35 to 40,
Okay.
what we would like to be. But they were, the lead singer's got a bunch of history, right? But I'm telling you.
What former band was he in?
Kind of bunch of
Spank
stuff
the
I don't
Monkey?
know, but he's had, no. I mean, he's a
Gutter Sharks?
He's like going out to L.A. and tried to do it, right?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but
okay. He's the real deal.
But I'm saying that this guy is think Maroon 5, Adam Levine, like that range. He did a little Sweet Child of Mine at the end, a little Journey.
If you come out with Journey,
how about you do a 2-hour set and your last two songs are Journey and Sweet Child of Mine?
Yeah,
that's big when you can sing for 2 hours and still nail
Does
it
he
like
look
that.
the part?
No, exactly. Their look is you'd like their look. By day he cuts hair and stuff. He's a barber, but they have.
You want to drop a name?
You
want to drop a name?
No, because I don't know it. They've got. Thanks for putting me on the spot. The name of the band's AM/FM. That's all you need to know. But they've got what?
Dude, what's up, bro? How you doing, dude? Good to see you, bro.
What difference does it make?
Because you have to talk to him. I'm assuming you're talking to
him. No, I'm not. Why would I have to talk?
Well, I thought you were like doing some consulting.
AM/FM. Here they are.
And you didn't. And that's it. That's all you do. You don't want to get to know them.
Not really.
Nice to see you. Thank you for being. I mean, it's called sales, Ron. Get to know your customer.
Right. Well, they're not. I'm not selling them anything, Joel. But the point is, they're fantastic.
Well, you're not selling them on LeBear's.
They're getting paid by LeBear's to be there. Can we move on?
Sure.
Please. Good God. But anyway, they were fantastic. My new favorite band. Go check them out. Look them up around town.
But yet doesn't know the name of anybody on the band.
If I said his name is Frank Johnson, would that make a difference for you? Okay,
well, I
the
just
lead
assume
singer,
you'd
Frank
be the
Johnson.
first person to try to get to know him so you can be like, can I sing a song? Can I come in there with you guys? Because that's how you do it. Every time there's a band, you're like, can I sing one? Can I please? Because
I thought 2019 this show was going to be different.
There's no way.
Maybe we'd be friendlier, we'd get along, but
it's going to be worse.
It's 2019's already off to a year of misery. I can tell. All right, so what did you do for New Year's Eve? I mean, you had like a 30-minute meal with the wife, then back to bed.
Went to bed at 10:30.
Really?
Wife did. Wife went to bed at 11. I stayed up. I'm the old guy. I'm
stay
the
up
old
for
guy.
30 minutes looking at you, figuring out ways to kill you?
Let me just tell you something. I started off the new year in a bad way. Wasn't happy at all. I was like, how much longer are we going to pop these firecrackers? Are we going to keep popping the firecrackers? Or are we going to go to bed already? I mean, how many large firecrackers do you have to pop to celebrate? I mean, can we not stop yet? I mean, the neighbors got a little kooky. Got a little kooky for 2019.
People pop fireworks all night long on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I think it was absurd.
And then at midnight is when the big boom comes.
Right, and it went on and on and on in my neighborhood.
Oh, so they didn't end at like 12:30. It kept going?
No, it didn't end at 12:05. It was going on to like 12:10. And I'm like, this is absurd.
Wow, you are really.
Yeah.
I mean, when you turn 50, it just is incredible.
I didn't turn 50 yet. I'm not
you
50
haven't
yet.
turned 50 yet?
No, I'm not 50 yet. Thank you very much.
Good God, when you turn 50, that's going to be just miserable to deal with.
It's about
what
exploding.
A Grinch you are.
No,
if they would have ended the fireworks at 12:05, that was okay, but now 12:10 is the problem?
I just think that it went on and on and on. Like, you're supposed to let them all go. I mean, light the whole bag on fire.
Not true. That's not how people do it.
Right at midnight.
You go spend hundreds of dollars to just have a 5-minute extravaganza.
I was giving people
wanna,
the look out.
People want to stretch it out a little bit.
I was giving people the look through the shades. Let me just tell you.
Through the shades. All right, let's move on to happier topics and times. I mean, this.
I did have some Jameson and water throughout the night.
Is that a new
That's my
thing
new
for
drink.
you?
That's my new drink.
Where'd you discover the Jameson?
My
oh
friggin'
my
son.
God, he's underage.
He's 26, Ron.
Oh, your oldest son. Okay,
My
I
oldest.
thought so much
He's got a
underage.
son himself. So he came over for Christmas Eve. We do our Christmas Eve on Christmas Eve. We do our Christmas on Christmas Eve. And he started pouring me some Jameson and water. And I'm like, what the heck is this? What are you, Mr. Sophistication over here? And I started drinking. I'm like, yeah, I kind of like it. I like the buzz. This is good. So I had a little Jameson and water.
Nice.
And then, Ron, I went to Rufino's with the wife.
You were fortunate enough to get a reservation on
I
New Year's
did.
Eve?
On New Year's Eve, we went to, and I had Jameson and water. Started there. By the way, our old boy at Chef Jeremy, that Mr. Taco.
Oh, yeah.
He is now one of the managers
He's
over
been
at
there
Rufino.
since like February or
Yeah,
March.
I didn't know that until I didn't know that until about 6 months ago or 5 months, 4 months ago, whatever it was. But anyway, I called Chef Jeremy. I said, Chef, is there any chance you can get me in there tonight? I know it's a little late, but we'd like to come.
Oh,
he got me in.
He made
got
it
me
happen.
in. Made it happen.
All those years of
That's right.
pumping his tacos made it happen. I mean,
That's right.
promoting his tacos.
Wow.
Made it happen. So,
We want to pump his taco.
So let's talk a little bit about a fun topic. Hopefully, we'll see a brighter side of you, and that's the New Orleans Saints.
Who dat?
We got the week off to relax, to sit
I'm ready,
back,
Ron.
to watch the games, to figure out the path to glory,
Who
the
dat?
path to the Super Bowl in Atlanta, which you will not be at because you would never spend more than $300 on a ticket.
Let me tell you something. I already have plans to go to KISS. We know that. I have already spent my
Your allotment for 2019
for tickets for 2019.
for KISS tickets.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
have two, or you have
well,
multiples.
my buddy bought the two. I still owe him the $200.
You haven't paid
Hadn't paid
yet.
him yet. Well, we hadn't seen each other.
How
but
much are the tickets for?
$200.
A piece.
Yeah,
So $400.
for 2 tickets.
Ooh, that's big for you.
He's out of pocket. No, he's out of pocket right now. I'm not out of pocket yet.
Yeah, but you're
Anything
gonna pay him, right?
I'm gonna pay him $200.
Okay, right.
No, it's just me and him going.
Oh, you're just paying $200.
Yeah.
You're not taking the wife.
No, hell no. I'm not spending $400.
Oh, my
to go to
God,
a game,
you're so
go to
cheap.
see the kid. She doesn't want to see
All right,
Kiss.
so-
anyway, so that's why I'm not going to
Okay.
the Super Bowl. Plus, I would much rather watch the game on TV because if you go to that game, you really don't see the game, Ron, and you know that.
All right. So before we get to kind of talking about the playoffs and all,
They will be in Atlanta.
What's the number? What would you pay for a Super Bowl ticket if you and this
If I could
KISS
get a
buddy
ticket,
were going
if I could
to
get it,
Atlanta?
if I could get it for, I probably wouldn't spend more than $500.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I'm not going.
You wouldn't have gone in
Ronnie, I'm about to
1995.
build a house.
you
I'm
know,
about to
for
build a
$500
house.
bucks. Like,
I'm about to build a house. I mean, I got to watch my fundage.
I get it, but I'm just saying, like, $500 for a Super Bowl ticket, you might have been able to get into a game, like a bad one somewhere, maybe in the 80s, you know, but
Let me tell you something, dude. I went to the NFC Championship game versus Minnesota. That was a
no,
dream
in the
game.
90s, you could have got a Super Bowl ticket for $500, depending on.
I've
wait
been
till
to
the day
I've been
of.
to the biggest game in the Saints' history besides the Super Bowl. Okay, I've been to the Minnesota game. That was huge with Brett Favre to get to the Super Bowl. I was there. That was like my.
It was your last year of season tickets.
That was my
right?
last year. Well, no, I had a couple years after that, but 2 or 3 years after that. But anyway, my point is that I've already felt that feeling,
high.
that high. That was the biggest high ever. Was even bigger than that. Was beating Philadelphia
in the playoffs to win the first. No, that was second playoff game.
beat Philadelphia in the
Go to the
divisional.
NFC Championship
That's
game?
correct. That game was
06.
literally tears because we had never reached an NFC Championship game in the history.
Right.
And we had just come back from Katrina, so the emotions were high. 2006, it was that game. Literally, I walked out of the dome crying like a baby. Now, I was going to that Super Bowl because my friend is married to Ricky Williams. He was playing for the Miami Dolphins at that time. They were living in Fort Lauderdale at that time. She said, "Listen, if you guys beat Chicago, I got your tickets." Because obviously the home team, the players of the home team of the home hosting team can have options to get tickets apparently, or just players in general. So I had 2 tickets to go to the Super Bowl. I had a place to stay. I had everything for that Miami game, and obviously the Saints didn't win, but that would get me there. If
So
somebody-
that relationship didn't continue into 2009 when they did
I
go
just
back to
didn't-
Miami?
I mean, but I just didn't ask her at that
Yeah,
point.
oof,
You know, I mean,
yeah.
it's you know.
Lloyd would have. Lloyd, the intern, he definitely would have asked.
But the difference was it was just different, man. It was an option to do something that I'd never done before, and then I think that Ricky had. I don't think they
By
were
the way,
living.
Ricky Williams was at the Saints game this last weekend.
Oh, I believe. Yeah.
No. I'm sorry. It was at the. Yeah, he was in the dome for the Texas Georgia Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
So they had honorary captains, at the
Right.
coin flip. They had Ben Watson, plays
Sure.
for the Saints, who went to Georgia.
Right.
And then they had
Ricky.
Ricky Williams representing the Longhorns, of course, who played for the Saints.
He's still a big
And,
Longhorn supporter, man.
He didn't look great. He's very skinny now,
Yeah.
or much skinnier.
Bald.
And balding in the middle. She's got the little patch on that side, which is where I'm working towards. And he had on like a black suit that looked like his dad's. Like it was like too big for him. Probably bought the suit 20 years ago and then has lost weight and never got it altered. So it looked a little disheveled, but it was good to see him nonetheless.
Did you have a chit chat with Ricky?
No, I did not. Why do I have to,
I have no
why do I
idea.
have to have a chit chat with him?
I
But anyway, the
But you better get if you do want to go to the Super Bowl. If you want it, the Saints will be in the Super Bowl this year. They are
you're
winning.
going the Matt Moscona route, which
Oh,
he's
dude.
been promoting for a month. That it's a lock of the year. If they get the home field that Saints are in, you're going with that too.
I feel Oogie. When I feel Oogie, I feel Oogie. Right? I don't feel Oogie about this at all. And let me tell you why. This team is getting overlooked right now, even though they're the favorite. They're the favorite, because it's the easy pick, right? But all pros, the all pro list is coming out. And, I mean, it's been a lot of players are getting overlooked, and they're having great years. So I think, two guys made the all-pro list? I can't remember. We'll look it up in just a second. I know Michael Thomas did. But Patrick Mahomes got the starting quarterback. So that just tells you right there he's probably going to get the MVP too. If he got the all-pro, he's probably going to get the MVP. I want that to happen. I want this team to get completely overlooked. That way, Sean Payton can go in there and
they tied for the most players in the NFC in the Pro Bowl. So
I'm not talking about the Pro Bowl. I'm talking about all pro.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, this is not a game for the all pro list. This is just these are the best players at their position, period. And there's just like one. All right. So my thing is that I want them to be overlooked. I think that this is something they can use to go into that locker room. Just more ammunition to go out and play domination football, and that's the goal. So I want Drew Brees to continue to get disrespected. I don't want him to win the MVP. I want him to go out and win the Super Bowl MVP. And then when he retires, he will be called every time he's introduced, Ronnie. Think about this. 2-time Super Bowl MVP and Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer, Drew Brees. That sounds really, really, really good to me.
You know who else can have that similar introduction? And
2-time Super Bowl MVP
champion.
and 2-time
Super Bowl champion, Eli Manning.
Was he the Super Bowl MVP twice?
No, he wasn't Super Bowl MVP twice.
I'm talking about Super Bowl MVP, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, and 2-time Super Bowl champion. And Hall of Famer, Drew Brees, with a fleur-de-lis on your head.
Well, I'll let you know what the Super Bowl is like.
You going?
Of course, I'm not going to miss that.
Really?
I'm not going to miss that. Yeah, we're absolutely not going to miss it.
Okay, so how much are you paying for those tickets?
It's to be
Why
determined.
wouldn't you take me?
To do what?
I mean, who are you going with?
Yeah.
What
Going with-
bros?
going with my-
I love you,
Going
Ron.
with my real bro. My
Who's your
brother.
real bro?
Go with
you
my
read
brother
it.
or whatever.
Whatever, dude.
But I definitely will be
Is
in
he
the house.
I'm sure he's paying for it.
Not at all. Matter of fact, I bought his ticket when we went in 10.
Well, what is the cost?
Hadn't got that all finalized, but we'll be there nonetheless.
Sweet.
I don't know.
Let me just say that.
Don't know.
This dude
Don't
is
know.
not going unless there's a sweet option. He is not going to go see. This dude would never be caught in the terrace. Ronnie's sitting in the general
first
seats.
2-3 rows
You're
in the
allergic.
terrace are good seats.
You're allergic to
The
the
first
terrace.
3 rows in the
Look at
terrace are
you.
good seats.
You are not a terrace kind of guy. You're
All
not
right.
a hoodat.
When we take a break, when we come back on Sports Shorts presented by LeBear's Casino, we'll talk a little bit about the playoffs where they're going on this weekend. And if you're a New Orleans Saints fan and you have hopes and dreams and aspirations of going to Atlanta, I'll tell you who you need to be pulling for like a crazy person in the playoffs. That'll help save you a few dollars. Sports Shorts presented by LeBear's will be back right after this.
The Bingle Tap Room, downtown Baton Rouge's only sports bar, invites you every Sunday for a free.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call AccuTemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows.
Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Relief Windows.
Heater outages hurt everyone.
And I got to be honest with you, I think I like the road team on both of these.
Mm-hmm. We went to break. We were talking about the All Pros. I do want to talk about that, but I wanted to go ahead and give you a real quick list if you haven't seen it. Obviously, there's only one guy on the first team, and that's Michael Thomas over Julio
from the Saints.
From the Saints, Michael Thomas over Julio Jones, which I thought was the right choice. Julio, his catch ratio is not as good as Michael Thomas's. But for the second team, Drew Brees, Teron Armstead, Ryan Ramczyk, and Cam Jordan were listed the second team. But that second team is nothing. It's the first team that really matters.
Well, it's the second best player at each position in the NFL.
I understand that.
It kind of
but
means something.
It means something. It means you've been highlighted for your season. But at the end of the day, you want to be the best. You want to be the best, and you can use that as
so out of those Saints that were listed as second team, which are Drew Brees, who else?
Drew Brees, Cam Jordan, Teron Armstead, and Ryan Ramczyk.
Okay.
I thought Ryan Ramczyk was the best right tackle in the league this year.
Who got it?
For right tackle, you would Mitchell Schwartz of Kansas City.
Okay. I don't know Mitchell Schwartz from Schwartz Mitchell, but I will say this, that when I've watched the Kansas City Chiefs, Mahomes has a lot of time to throw the football.
Yeah, he also runs around a lot.
I get it. And they've put up ridiculous numbers. So it's not crazy to think that the right tackle for the Chiefs is probably pretty good. I mean, and I doubt very seriously you've studied the right tackle for the Kansas City or the right tackle for any team in the NFL.
Would you take Alvin Kamara or Tyreek Hill as your flex?
Oh, man. I think I'd take Tyreek Hill.
See, I'd take Alvin Kamara.
Okay.
I just.
But I mean, like, that's the difference between, I
understand, but Alvin Kamara's not even on the second team. So anyway,
but Alvin Kamara wasn't as good this year as he was last year.
He's just not used as much. Christian McCaffrey got the second team honors of the flex. I have no problems with that. His numbers this year were tremendous.
Tyreek Hill, though, has like roadrunner speed, like cartoon stuff. Like he looks like a dude for Evangel, back in the day when they were rolling, playing, some 1A school with a bunch of private school kids. I mean, it's a different level speed. Like it's oh my God when he runs the football and he turns the corner. And this is in the NFL. And look, no disrespect to Alvin Kamara. I mean, love him. Glad we have him. Don't want him to go anywhere. But if you're asking me who makes who is unbelievably special, well, I mean that combination of Hill and Holmes. And oh, by the way, if Tyreek Hill has to go back there to return a kick, because you need one, he's like Reggie Bush was for the Saints back in the day. All right, Tyreek, go back there. We need a punt return for a touchdown. Go get us one.
Yeah.
He's got that capability.
I'm not saying he's not.
They're both.
I'm just saying that the Saints can use this as, hey, you're still not being thought of as individually great players.
By the way, it gives you an idea how good Armstead is, huh? The guy was hurt most of the year, and he still makes second team.
I'm worried about this offensive line, Ronnie, going to the playoffs, because when they played the Rams the first time, they were pretty healthy on the front line, and Aaron Donald didn't sniff Drew Brees in that game. This offensive line is nowhere near right now as far as health as they were in that game. Or when they played Philadelphia. They were just healthy. Over the last few weeks, man, 3 or 4 weeks, this offensive line has been decimated. So I'm interested to see how healthy they come back next
this week off is huge.
It's huge.
I mean, tremendous.
Huge.
Especially not only the week off, but the week off combined with a Week 17 game where you just kind of, the ones that had to play really obviously didn't show up. So, I mean, you're getting – in essence, for some of these guys, you're getting 3 weeks worth of rest going into the playoff game. That's big.
Yeah. Well, look, they need the rest. They're getting the rest. I haven't heard anything on Andrus Peat. You remember when he went out in that last game, his wrist? I mean, I've never seen a bigger guy with more ticky-tack little injuries. I mean, I'm waiting for this guy to run off the field because he's got a fat lip. I mean, that's really where I see Andrus Peat. Kind of a soft guy, big. He's very good, but a little too soft for me. So I hope he's okay. They better cast that thing up. The dude better be playing.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, I don't care if he has a club on that arm. He needs to be playing.
All right. So is there any particular this weekend in the wild card game? So are there any particular let's start NFC. Cowboys hosting the Seahawks.
Can't wait for that game tonight.
Cowboys have been red hot. One of the hottest teams in the league. Obviously, they were kryptonite to the Saints a few weeks ago over in Dallas, and we know that was the perfect storm. Thursday night football home game. It gave them legitimacy and all that kind of stuff. And the Saints were coming off of a long win streak versus a Seattle team who, you don't want to play them in Seattle.
Yeah.
We know what that looks like in the Saints' history. And Russell Wilson might be playing his best football of his career.
He's playing so well right now. His deep ball passes are just sick. Doug Baldwin's playing well. They got that running game going. They're a dangerous football team, but they have some weaknesses, just like every team has a weakness. You just got to look at the matchup. I like the matchup between the Saints and the Seattle. I actually like that matchup more than I like that matchup than the Cowboys. I do like the Cowboys. I like the Saints no matter who they play in the division round. If they can get past
in the dome,
let me tell you something. If they get past the division round, ain't nobody beat them in a division champion. I mean, in an NFC championship game in the dome. The division championship game is the test that they have to overcome. Okay, so if they win that game, put all your money
Well, I don't know how the betting thing works, actually. I don't really put any money on anything, so don't do that. Don't listen to me. But they're going to win that game, the championship game.
Why
in the
do
dome.
you feel so confident about the NFC Championship game versus division game? Why is the
division,
NFC Championship a lock?
Because of the time off, being the number 1 seed, the stress that they've put their fans under over the last 3 or 4 weeks, not playing their best football. They played lights out offensively versus Pittsburgh, but the defense really gave up a lot of points, and even scared me even more watching Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati in the final week of the season. Barely putting up 16 points. I know AB wasn't playing, but still, they only gave up 16 points to a Cincinnati. They only scored 16 points versus Cincinnati. They were going up and down the field in a very important game in the Dome versus the New Orleans Saints. That concerns me. All right? So you look at a team like Seattle. Seattle's going to put some points on the Saints. The team that scares me the least as far as putting points up are the Cowboys.
Not the Bears?
Well, I mean, the Bears, I don't even know if the Bears are going to be there, honestly.
Well,
I think Philadelphia can beat the Bears.
Everybody feels like they can beat the Bears because everybody questions Mitch Trubisky.
I don't think the Bears are going to put up 27
The Bears
points.
went to the Super Bowl with who was it?
Grossman.
Yeah, there you go. Sexy Rexy at quarterback. I mean, the point is that this Bears defense is one of the best defenses we've ever seen in the last 20 years.
They're very good.
They're like the Baltimore Ravens who won a Super Bowl with
they
Trent
have Mitch
Dilfer.
Trubisky, who is a second-year player who has never
They won a
played.
Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer. You just said the same thing when Trent Dilfer
Trent
was
Dilfer
quarterback.
was not in his second year.
Yeah, but I mean, like Trent Dilfer hadn't done anything but
He'd been
get
in the league
cut.
for like 10 years. Dude, the dude was in the league for a long. All I'm saying is, look, Mitch Trubisky doesn't get enough credit. The dude's a good football player. But you're talking about on the road, in the Superdome, in a game where your sphincter is so tight because everybody is depending on you. What?
Starting off 2019 with some sphincter talk already.
Well, I mean, it's part of the equation, man. I mean, that is you can barely swallow your spit in that situation. Your throat is so locked up, right? So I don't know how Mitch Trubisky, he played a lot of football, Ron. He played 1 year in college football, too. That dude has never been in an environment like that, ever. At home, a little less stressful, right? But in New Orleans, against Drew Brees, future Hall of Famer, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, who's going to have everybody on his team playing for him in that game. Mitch Trubisky ain't beating Drew Brees in the Dome in an NFC title game. It ain't happening.
The Saints lost to the Cowboys 13-10, and this Cowboys defense smothered.
They do worry me defensively.
The Saints, okay?
Yeah.
Now, so in the last few weeks, it's been proven that the Saints offense is mortal, okay? And
Yes.
this Bears
defense
defense is outstanding, and defenses travel well, okay? And so, yes, I get it that you don't love Mitch Trubisky. Matter of fact, you almost hate Mitch Trubisky.
No, I did not say
But
I hate it.
the
I
point
think
is, he may not be asked to have to do a whole lot. If this Bears defense travels on the road and smothers the Saints, and all Mitch Trubisky does is got to put up 17, 20 points, that's doable. I don't care who's at quarterback. He's a professional. And oh, by the way, he's played well this year.
Okay, so you're picking the Bears to go to the Super Bowl.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like,
Sounds
you're
like it.
dismissing
I
whoever
didn't
comes. You're
them.
dismissing the
I am.
NFC Championship game
Yes.
as like, if you come to the Dome, it's lock of the year. By the way, it took a ridiculous
In the
Brett Favre
NFC
decision.
Championship
And
game.
the one time there was an NFC Championship game in the Dome, it took a ridiculous Brett Favre throw to give the Saints a chance when he threw back across his body instead of just running the ball out of bounds and kicking a field goal to win the game.
Yeah.
So, I don't think it's lock of the year the way the Saints have played down the stretch. They're banged up.
That's why I'm saying the division game is critical. That is the game I'm most worried about, no matter who they play, because we don't know what we're going to get. We really don't know where this team is injury-wise. We don't know if this team has just kind of been coasting down the stretch with a 13-3 record. We don't know what team we're going to get. I mean, are we going to get the team that's dancing in the look? And by the way, I don't like any of that stuff. I just let's celebrate after the Super Bowl. Can we? Do we have to celebrate before the Super Bowl? Do we have to call out other teams' best players? Do we have to be that team? I don't want to be that team.
The forced team song, right? Like stand up and get crunk, and then Choppa style, and all that. that's organic. It just happened, right?
happened.
They played the song in the Dome, and people went crazy, or
Yeah.
Saints like it in the locker room, and the fans. But now all these people coming out with these songs is just absolutely ridiculous.
How about the other teams copying Choppa Style? You've seen it everywhere.
Oh yeah, everybody's doing the Choppa dance.
I mean, they
and
were doing it in the Texas game.
Actually,
Texas, Georgia game.
Teddy Bridgewater, who of course his video went viral of him in the locker room a few weeks ago when they were playing Choppa Style, and he was kind of doing the Choppa dance, if you will.
He knows how to shift.
He got that from a high school in Florida, from where he's from, watching them in the high school football state championship, and their guys were doing it on the sidelines or in the game or something. So he actually took it from a high school in Florida in the area where he's from, and he saw that dance or whatever, and then started doing that dance with the Saints, and then it went viral, and now everybody's doing it.
Yeah, well, the high schools get no credit.
But that's organic. It is. It just happened. It wasn't planned. They weren't in a studio thinking of a Super Bowl dance or something.
Are you okay with all the celebrations after a 10
I
win?
hate it.
I do too.
But that's also, I mean, the young people listening to this show and the
They're
5
okay
people
with it.
watching
But
that
I'm
are
all
under
about
the age
karma.
of 30 are going to think, you're just an old girl. Yeah,
No,
I mean,
I agree.
I mean,
I
we're
am.
both over 45.
But
and
my thing is that I feel like it's karma, man. Like I feel like if you
yeah, but everybody does it now. So the whole turnover and the whole defense runs and takes the picture and all that stuff.
I don't have a
Everybody
problem with
does that now.
I'm talking about after a game in the locker room, this super
Yeah,
celebration.
but again, everybody does that too.
Do they?
Yes, they do. If you watch viral videos from everybody from college to the pros now, any kind of big game whatsoever,
I just think
guys
it's
are going
bad
crazy
luck.
doing all that.
I think it's bad
get it.
luck.
And if the Saints were the only team that did it, I would say maybe there's some bad karma there. But dude, it's just a sign of the times. Everybody does it now.
Did you like Cam Jordan calling out Ben Roethlisberger before that game?
Not at all.
Did you see Ben Roethlisberger in that game?
Let a sleeping dog lie.
Yes.
You know
exactly.
Yeah.
Why would you want to poke the bear?
Well, hopefully.
Can we not just
hopefully
keep your mouth shut?
Drew, that's where Sean Payton calls in Cam and says, "Don't do that again."
Yeah, you saw how it affected him.
Yeah,
he had. Ben Roethlisberger had one of the best games of his career. After you poked it.
By the way, before we talk about the what's your prediction on the Seattle Cowboys game?
I think Seattle's going to go in and beat Dallas.
I do too.
I think Seattle's going to go in and beat Dallas, and I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to beat the Bears. We're playing Philadelphia next week. And they scaring me with Nick right now. The way they're playing. I know we beat them like 38 to. And I say we because I'm a Houdat. 38-3, or it was a dismantling, right? This is a different team today with Nick Foles. Clearly a different team. 3 weeks ago in Week 15, they were on their heels, man, playing the
Bears
Rams.
are a 6.5-point favorite at home, and Joel's saying take the Eagles.
I like the Eagles straight up, just because. If Nick Foles is healthy.
Did Nick Foles sell his soul to the devil, do you think, a
No,
couple
he's
years ago?
very religious.
The guy was like, practically insignificant, and now he's 2 years in a row he's come off the bench to be fantastic.
Fisher cut him.
Right.
In Los Angeles, said, you need to go sell insurance. Told the dude basically, you need to go find another career. This is not for you. Fisher should never
selling insurance.
He is selling insurance. He should never coach again. But he's gone on. He's a perfect fit in Philadelphia.
Not that there's anything wrong with selling insurance. We know our own Buzzy Heidel does that.
Of course. But if you have the ability to throw a football and play football, you should be doing that instead.
All right, so you're calling out the Eagles. You like
so here's what's going to happen.
Seattle.
I'm going to mark it down. Eagles, Seattle. So the two road teams are going to win.
So over in the AFC, we got Colts at Texans. Texans a 2-point favorite, and we got the Chargers at Ravens, and the Ravens are a 2.5-point favorite.
So you're going to have You're going to have the Eagles. Well, I'm talking about the NFC right now. So the Eagles are going to be playing the Saints next week, and Seattle will be going to the Rams. That will be your Final Four in the NFC. All right. So here's what's going to happen there. What's going to happen is the Eagles are going to take what Alvin Kamara, big fat mouth, said last year was the Eagles are so lucky we didn't beat the Vikings because we were coming to Philadelphia to beat you. So that's going to be their fuel. You talked a bunch of smack last year. That's going to be the story. And the Saints are going to have a dogfight versus the Eagles in the division round. In that division round, I believe the Saints will beat them. It will not be as dominant as a game as it was back early in the season, but the Saints will win that game. But it's going to be close, man. I'm thinking it's going to be within 7 points. That game will be within 7 points. Everybody's sphincter will be tight. It'll be a terrible, it'll be glorious at the end of the game, but it'll be 3 hours of hell for all Saints fans, right? They'll win that game. They'll move on, and I think that the Rams are going to beat Seattle at home. So a Rams-Saints showdown in the NFC title game.
But
That's
not,
how I see
but
it.
not as high scoring as it was the first
No,
time around.
no. And I think it's going to be another I think it'll be a Saints win, but I think it's going to be – and the Saints won big. They were dominating the Rams early.
Saints-Rams put up 80 points first time around.
But the Saints were dominating, and then they let the Rams get back into it. And then they got within 3 points, I believe, and the Saints tacked on another touchdown at the end, ended up winning by 10 points. But that game has story. You remember what Marcus Peters said? Marcus Peters wants the Saints again. And they've got Aqib Talib back. It's a different dynamic defensively. They were able to shut Aaron Donald down in that first game.
So another vomit game is
Another
what you're
vomit
saying.
game. Another vomit game, but I think that the Saints will prevail.
All right.
Over on the AFC side.
Over on the AFC side, we're not going to go through the whole bracket, but I just for this weekend, Colts at Texans. I'm liking the Colts, and I know that I think this is.
You like them because
Andrew Luck
is
dude.
playing ball
Andrew
out.
Luck has been amazing down the stretch. You can't take Watson and that defense at home. So I take the 2.5 in the Texans. Even though I'd love to see Andrew Luck rewarded for his unbelievable season and finish, but I just think the Texans at home with that defense and the fact that they can beat you two ways now.
You taking the Texans?
Yeah, in the past the Texans could only beat you with the offense. Now they got the ability to win either way.
I agree with you. I think the Texans actually win that game. I think Andrew Luck has a good game, but I think J.J. Watt has a better game.
The game I love is the Chargers at Ravens. I realize this is a rematch, but I love the Chargers to go over there and win. I mean, the Chargers are playing unbelievable this year, and the Ravens, give them credit for getting into the playoffs because it looked like for a minute they wouldn't. And I realize they're at home and all that, and they're not going to miss another extra point, but I don't think they're going to need it. I think the Chargers win outright.
I want the Chargers to win this game, and I want the Texans to win that game because I want that Chiefs-Chargers matchup in the division round.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see.
Chiefs, Chargers, and Saints-Rams, two of the best games of the year. And by the way, I said this earlier, I forgot. If you're a Saints fan, put on your Chargers gear and pull for them to get to Atlanta. That's the only way some of you are going to afford a ticket because the Chargers play in front of a 28,000-seat stadium in L.A. They've got no fan base. They're not traveling. So if you're a Saints fan and you want to have a hope of a home game and maybe get a ticket that's not $10,000, you don't want the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Let me tell you
Chief
something.
Nation will travel, and that's going to be the most expensive ticket ever.
Yeah, because they haven't been in the Super Bowl in quite some time, and they got Patrick Mahomes. But how good of a game would it be? Saints Chiefs. Saints Chiefs. I mean, it would be the most watched Super Bowl in history. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Now you don't know what type of game you're going to get, but it would be the. And I would. You're talking about nervous.
Oh, I
don't want to play that.
I think the Chiefs would be favored.
I don't want to play Kermit at all.
Can I ask one last thing before we go? Can I ask Pat Mahomes? This is going to be your first playoff game as a starter, Pat. And, you get the week off. Congratulations on a great year.
Can't wait.
I mean, out of all the teams in the AFC, you got to be looking forward to the potential of playing Tom Brady and the Patriots in the championship, if AFC championship.
So much respect for Tom Brady. I mean, it's unbelievable how much respect I have for him. But in Phillip Rivers, I mean, he is unbelievable. He is so good. And he's kind of like me. He's down to earth, kind of a homebody.
But without the hair.
But without the hair and the 10 kids. I don't have 10 kids. But I will tell you what, I would love to play any one of them, and I think I can beat them. I think I can, and I can do it by myself. I don't even need anybody else. I can do it on my own.
No Tyreek? You don't need him?
I mean, I need him and nobody else. All I need is me and Tyreek, and that is all I need.
What about that good-looking tight end with the good eyes, the pretty eyes?
Kelsey. Yeah, I need him too. I need him, I need Tyreek, and I need me. And if I have those three guys, we are good to go. We can beat anybody.
All right, Pat, best of luck in the playoffs.
Thank you very much.
And go Red Raiders.
Appreciate you.
All right, Pat Mahomes right there, your starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll take a break. Sports Shorts presented by LeBear's Casino. When we come back, Hall of Fame broadcaster Lynn Rollins will join us. And then hour number 2, a whole cast of guests, Nolan Kane, a little LSU baseball. We'll talk Henry Hayes, NBA, and a whole lot more. Joel, have a good one, man.
Later, bud.
All right.
BR Mattress Company is the only name you need to know when looking to buy a mattress anywhere in Louisiana. BR Mattress Company is located in the Live Oak Shopping Center on Florida
Heater
Boulevard
outages
between North
hurt
Foster and
everyone.
Acadian. BR
Don't
Mattress
be a
Company offers
victim.
all the
Call
top
Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home. We remove your old windows.
Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make
6621 today or go to PremierSouthLA.com.
Premier South Roofing.
For premier craftsmanship,
Premier South Roofing.
premier customer service,
Premier South Roofing.
Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal.
Sports Shorts Radio with Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis, and Buzzy Heidel on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And welcome back, everyone, to Sports Shorts. Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis has left the building. We thank him for joining us in the first 40 minutes of the show, and also a little treat for Pat Mahomes to kind of show up there out of nowhere. And Lloyd, I'm having a little trouble. Our boy,
Joel might have put you in a pickle there.
Kind of.
Surprised he get out the studio. He's all wrapped up.
Yeah. Hang on. For
It
those
might be
of,
easier to switch seats.
It might be, or you can just boost the guest because Joel crashed my headphones over there. All right, thank you, Appreciate it. Let's go to the Woodhaven Furniture Company hotline. Joining us right now is Lynn Rollins, Hall of Fame broadcaster from the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame last year, and of course Lynn is on the road headed up to Ruston, where Louisiana Tech, the Lady Texers, are going to be in action today. And oh, by the way, speaking of women's hoops, for you folks that are listening on the radio and not watching on TV, and hopefully you're not watching because you're seeing some bad TV right now. But
a little behind-the-scenes action.
Yeah, it's a little behind-the-scenes action. But LSU women's basketball is at home against Texas A&M today at 2 o'clock in the PMAC. But joining us right now is Lynn Rollins. How are you, sir? Don't be speeding because I know there's a lot of small towns on the way from Pineville to Ruston.
Well, there are. I'm on a first-name basis with many of the local folks. So anybody wearing a badge, I've probably met over the course of my career. I do have a request, though. I do have a request.
All right, go ahead.
I much enjoy coming on with you guys on Sports Shorts and other programs. My request is, on the return music, prior to my arrival as a guest, could I request Bob Dylan like a Rolling Stone?
If Lloyd the intern, who's doesn't know who Bob Dylan is, but I'll put him on it. I mean, Bob Dylan, Rolling Stone. That's Lynn's bumper music from now on. Anytime he joins us in and out, that's what he wants to hear.
I know who Bob Dylan is.
Do you really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, yeah. Not a very good voice, but very lyrical.
Maybe two other, maybe as backups, he could do American Pie and maybe Light My Fire. So those are the three.
Yeah, so basically no song prior to 1980 is what you're saying. Like, make sure everything is from the 60s or early 70s.
Does he want to redo? Does he want to come in again? We could restart it.
you can just throw a little Bob Dylan underneath us, if you want. But that makes sense.
Also the Who, American Woman.
Of course. By the way, it makes sense, Lynn Rollins joining us, that you would pick songs from that era because is this still the case? You have not been to the movie since Old Yeller was out. Is that still the case? You haven't been in a movie theater since that time?
It is true, and it was Old Yeller in black and white, so I don't even go to the color version. I'm just not a movie person. I'm just really not. I have very little patience, and when I go to a movie, it's almost like I'm looking to find a mistake in the background. We're in some sort of ancient movie, and somebody's wearing an Apple Watch, or something like that. So I'm always looking for those little mistakes, something out of character, something that shouldn't be there. It ruins the whole thing for me.
What you got right there, Lloyd? What's that playing underneath?
A little Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Oh, Knocking on Heaven's Door. So there you go, Lynn. We got something for you. Make you feel at home. Lynn Rollins joining us. I want to touch on a number of different topics while I got you, Lynn. First off, just overall reaction from the LSU Tigers and the Fiesta Bowl, their big win. Overall takeaway on finally kind of shutting up Central Florida.
Well, I don't take anything away from Central Florida. They played 2 years worth of games and they won every game, so it's great. I don't get caught up in the man-made hype over who's better, and I certainly didn't get caught up in the LSU ULL NIT basketball game last year. Here's my takeaway: when you get 10 wins in a season, it's been a while since LSU was at 10 victories. That's kind of your milepost. And very few teams win 10 games, get into double figures in victory column every year. So to me, LSU reaching those 10 wins is significant. The fact that it came against a team like Central Florida it may be sweeter if you take these things personally, but it was great to see LSU's patchwork defense hold Central Florida to essentially 50% of the total offense that it had been getting over the last couple of years. And the offense coming to life. I'm a perfectionist. I admit that. I'm still a bit disappointed in the LSU offense settling for 4 field goals, getting into the red zone with first downs and kicking 4 field goals. But overall, I thought it was a very inspiring win. I think Central Florida had more to play for psychologically than LSU, and I was proud of LSU for playing hard, shorthanded, and for the most part, playing smart.
Yeah, I mean, the only takeaway from the game that's negative is just that, you're right. LSU scored 40. They could have scored 60. Statistically, they dominated this game. When have you ever seen nearly 45 minutes in time of possession? I mean, that's crazy, but only an 8-point spread. And I would have liked to have seen LSU win by 20 to kind of bury Central Florida into the dirt on the scoreboard, especially with a decimated defense. It would have sent a bigger statement where at least Central Florida one possession, loss without their quarterback. That's what they're going to hang their hat on. Is like, well, we didn't have our starting quarterback. And granted, I know LSU on the other side will say, well, we had half our defense was out. But I would have just have liked to have seen the score match up with the dominance that we saw on the field. It wasn't the case, but still 10 wins. I expect raises and extensions probably for the coaches. And let me ask you this, Lynn, is that the expectation year in, year out? And if or any coach at LSU does that, you have to be happy with the 10. I mean, the days of thinking that LSU's going to beat Alabama every other year, that's not going to happen. So you have to, I don't want to say settle for second. You always try to be the best. But if you can finish second in your division and pick up 10, 11 wins every year, I mean, that's got to be the bar, right?
I think it is. Let's be realistic. Alabama is Alabama, and until somebody proves Alabama is not worthy of its ratings, then it's going to be very difficult to win the SEC West. Let's accept that. However, that does not mean that LSU is out of national title contention. Georgia certainly made a case for being in the Final Four this year. There will be teams that do not win the West or do not win the SEC championship that certainly will qualify for the Final Four. So I don't think you have to win the SEC West to have a super season and even compete for a national championship. So, yes, I think it is a reasonable expectation to reach double-figure victories each year, and that should be the goal. And then the spoils will come with that when you get that 10th win and that 11th win.
Well, it's always amazing the difference between winning a bowl game and losing the bowl game, because now it makes you feel so good about itself coming off of the strong early signing period. They're going to, obviously hope to add a few more people at the next signing period, first Wednesday in May and February. And then you're going to have that long run till August with spring practice. You just feel better about the state of the program, the next year. Remember, last year we're sitting there after that last-second loss to Notre Dame. You feel totally destroyed. You're starting to point out all the flaws. You're starting to look at all the players you're losing, and what are we going to do? How are we going to replace them for next year? All those negative thoughts are in your brain until about August, when you start to get positive again, where this time around it's the exact opposite. You're positive the whole way through. There is no negative.
No, I think so. And the loss to Notre Dame was one that should not have happened, and that prevented LSU from reaching a 10-win season. And all the gnashing of the teeth at the quarterback position, the uncertainty before LSU put on the full-court press to woo Joe Burrow. And obviously the quarterback situation was much in doubt after spring practice, and I don't think LSU would be where it is today without the addition of Joe Burrow. And that's not criticism of anybody on the LSU staff, or the LSU roster at quarterback last spring or this fall, but I believe it's factual, and I believe Joe Burrow was what LSU needed. His numbers are not spectacular. LSU had 13 touchdown passes the entire season prior to the bowl game. Alabama's quarterback, for example, threw more than that in the first quarters alone this year. So you're comparing apples to oranges there. But what Joe Burrow did was bring stability. He did not turn the ball over. It was okay to throw it away and punt and turn it over to your defense. And I think that steadiness and that maturity at the position was served LSU well, and started serving it even better in the last half of the season.
Visiting with Lynn Rollins. Lynn on his way up to Louisiana Tech where the Lady Texans are in action. Who do they play today? Rice, and you can check it, of course, out on the ESPN app. Check out Lynn on that broadcast. He'll be back in Baton Rouge, of course, always does a great job with LSU. We're running out of time, Lynn. We're going to let you go. We wanted to talk a little LSU gymnastics. I know they got their season started with a win last night. We'll do so next time. We'll have you on in a couple of weeks. Safe travels. Don't speed.
Thank you so much, and it'll be great to hear Cousin Bobby coming next time.
All right, sounds good. Lynn Rollins right there, inducted into Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame on the broadcast division last year. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, Nolan Kane, LSU baseball assistant coach, joining us next.
Hi, it's Michelle Southern, and if you're feeling lucky this holiday season, have I got a spot for you. 415 South Casino in Port Allen, with an incredibly clean atmosphere and excellent customer service. You're going to love your experience.
Heater outages
at 415
hurt
South
everyone.
Casino.
Don't be a
Conveniently
victim.
located just south of
Call
I-10
Accutemp and
Highway.
schedule your maintenance check today.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows.
Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call AccuTemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
I'm John Ryder. Wild Card Weekend in the NFL kicks off today with the Texans and Colts. Indy winners of 9 of their last 10. Houston head coach Bill O'Brien on whether he's seen a difference in quarterback Andrew Luck during the Colts run.
I don't see any differences. You know, I think that relative to when he was playing before, when we played him here, played him in Indy, very difficult guy to go against. Arm strength, competitiveness. I see the same guy. You know, in fact, in some of the things that he's doing, he's probably even better.
Indy receiver T.Y. Hilton is expected to play. Has been slowed by an injured ankle, and Hilton has been tremendous against Houston in his career. 41 catches, 933 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Colts-Texans is on ESPN TV, ABC, and the ESPN app today at 4:35 Eastern. Then tonight at Dallas, Cowboys versus the Seahawks. ESPN's Todd Archer on one of the keys on offense for Dallas, Amari Cooper, who came over in a mid-season trade from Oakland.
He's really changed the whole trajectory of the Cowboys season. And, you know, they've only lost 2 games since he's been here. And now he's been quiet lately, though. It's only 83 yards in his last 3 games. So they've got to find a way to get him the ball, even if Seattle will do some things to take him away. Make sure that he's an element in this offense, not just a guy running out there just running routes.
Seahawks defeated the Cowboys 24-13 in Week 3. That game was in Seattle. Dolphins interviewing Saints defensive coordinator Dennis Allen for their head coaching vacancy. Knicks center Enes Kanter not traveling with the team to London for their January 17th game against the Wizards.
Alabama, Clemson, the College Football Playoff National Championship presented by AT&T. Coverage begins Monday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN.
Most of my clients were referred to me by former clients. I'm even proud to say that some insurance adjusters secretly referred their friends and family. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
Offices in Baton Rouge.
1045 WNXX Jackson, 1049 KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour is brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. Sports Shorts Radio with Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis, and Buzzy Heidel on 1045, 1049 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And welcome back, everybody. Sports Shorts presented by LeBear's Casino in Baton Rouge. Always great stuff going to LeBear's. They had a great blowout for New Year's Eve, but some fantastic concerts in 2009. They've got the Gin Blossoms this month over there. Three Doors Down's coming March 1st. I know in February, Dennis Miller, the comedian, is going to be there. Sometime in, I think, May, they've got Color Me Bad and Tone Loc are going to be doing a show. That brings me back to my high school, college days. But a lot of great shows. You can go download the LeBear's Baton Rouge app on your phone. It's absolutely free. You can check everything out there, get your tickets, hotel rooms, you name it. Joining us right now is LSU assistant coach and recruiting coordinator for the Tigers. Joining us is Nolan Cain. How are you, sir? Happy New Year.
Oh, good. Same to you, Ronnie. Everything's going good, man. Just excited to get everything cranked up around here.
Now, is this your fifth year or sixth year?
It's my sixth year back on the staff. 2.5 years as the recruiting coordinator now.
Yeah, 6 years, 2.5 years recruiting coordinator. Time has flown, and just celebrated a birthday, so congratulations on that. So this time of year for LSU baseball, the season starts February 15th. What does the next, say, 6 weeks look like if for an LSU baseball player, those 35 guys on your roster?
Well, school starts a little early this year, which is nice, especially for us. We had a pretty good fall. It's pretty well documented. We shut down a lot of our premium arms, and then just the weather was just so bad this fall. A lot of rain. We probably only got to scrimmage 14 times this fall, and we usually scrimmage 24, 25 times. So it's nice for it to crank up a little bit earlier here because starting on the 9th, we can, once school starts, we can jump right into those individuals. And as you remember, Ronnie, and when I played, it was 4-on-1, 4 players to 1 coach for only 2 hours a week. So you're splitting up these segments, 10-minute bullpens, trying to count up all the hours to stay, compliant with NCAA rules. But, now they've opened it up, so it's just purely individuals. There's no number limitations to numbers of coaches and stuff like that. So we can get out there and get a lot of stuff done. ADs had all the pitchers on a throwing program and a bullpen progression. So when they jump back on the 9th, we're jumping right into live BP, so pitcher versus hitters. There won't be any defense out there, but, guys getting live at bats and kind of expediting that process of, getting back the knowledge of the strike zone and seeing, 90-93 with breaking balls and all that stuff. And obviously highly competitive at bats as well. So we'll start that up on the 9th, do a lot of individual work. And then the NCAA doesn't allow us to crank up full team practices until the 25th. So once we get into that, we'll be ready to scrimmage, and we'll pretty much be scrimmaging as many times as we can until that first game in February 15th.
Talking to Nolan Cain, LSU baseball assistant coach. Now that you look back on the fall, and it was a weird fall, a funky fall. For a team that preseason poll ranked number 1 in one of the polls that came out. You mentioned you shut down a lot of arms. 9-10 guys, basically didn't really participate much in the fall from a pitching standpoint, which then limited you on your scrimmages because you don't have the arms available, and then you have the weather issues. And then this year there was a new wrinkle. You got a chance to play UNO a couple of times, once there and once at home, a new rule that allows you to have 2 scrimmages against other schools. Did you like that better than scrimmaging yourself? Or what was your takeaway after the fact?
I really like doing it. It just, especially for the young guys and the amount of new players. I think we have 17 new guys this year. Just that game day process of showing up to the field. If we play at 7, our guys are here well before that. They're getting optional early work done. Then we got BP. So we ran it like a game day so they could go through and see how long of a day it really is before you even get to the game. And then, to take go down and travel down to UNO and kind of simulate like a midweek game was really good for our guys to see as well. You know how we go through it. So I take it as that. Just teaching our guys the process of like how a game day works. That was really, really good because we've all Coach Maneri, you know him. He likes to wear the uniforms, the game day uniforms during scrimmages. He wants everything to be game-like. So I think going through and simulating that was really good. As far as the competition goes, I mean, UNO, man, it looks like they've got another pretty good team down there. Blake Dean's done a great job. But for us, with limiting the pitch counts and just making sure everybody stays healthy on both sides, it's more of like a friendly, I guess, in soccer, where, the score doesn't really matter. Everybody's just trying to get their work in and try to get some simulated work in,
So of the pitchers that, well, I guess let's talk about this in general. When February 15th starts and you guys open up at home against UL Monroe, who do we know? Do we know right now who won't be available due to injury or whatever? Is there any obvious guys that are still come February 15th won't be around?
Really the only one as of right now is Nick Storrs. He ended up having a surgery on his lat, something that went back all the way to his senior year of high school, which is why he even got to campus. If he would have been healthy, he probably would have been $1.5 million, $2 million arm out of New York. And just something that's just taken the doctors, not just our doctors, but doctors across the country a long time to kind of figure out. It's that they kind of dubbed it that Jake Peavy surgery. If you remember back to him pitching in a big league game, and he grabbed his lat, and they had to basically go in there and sew that back up into underneath the shoulder where it attaches. So he actually starts playing catch in 3 weeks. I wouldn't expect to see him out there this year, but it'd be a big bonus down the stretch if he was available. But we're really looking to next year for him.
On the offensive side of the football, goodness gracious, we're still not in football season. On the offensive side of the baseball field, injury-wise, I know you got one of your catchers had surgery. Anybody else banged up, or is it just all pretty much on the pitching staff?
It was pretty much on the pitching side, and every one of those guys that we shut down this fall or was unable to go has been throwing on their bullpens. They're right on schedule. Saul Garza, the catcher out of Howard Junior College, hit 24 homers last year. Big, strong, physical kid. He tore his meniscus, but he'll be able to play. It'll probably be at first base or DH early. And then once we get into March, he'll be able to start catching again. He's coming back really good off the surgery. He actually came back a little bit early from Christmas break to get back to work with Corey. And, he's off the tee right now on flips and doing a kind of a hitting progression, working his way back into live BP and those live at-bats. So he's a really big piece for us, man. We only got a small snapshot of him this fall. But, just a kid that just demolishes baseballs and really good catcher defensively, can really receive, really block, probably an average thrower, but more like, like a Ty Ross type thrower, if you will. But, a kid that we're expecting a lot out of. And the other good thing is we've got another catcher, Brock Mathis, who had a great fall and made big strides in his game all the way around. Actually, at the end of the fall, we sat down as a staff, and some of the biggest jumps we've ever seen a kid make in just one fall in a complete game, and offensively and behind the plate. So another big, strong junior college kid that's ready to jump in there and play. And, we tinkering with the idea of getting Drew Bianco back there a little bit early on in the year just to see how that would look and maybe the future of him being the catcher. His dad, head coach at Ole Miss, was a great catcher here at LSU and knows the position well and kind of has that catcher's body. So we'll hem it up. We'll figure it out. But, we feel really comfortable where we're at right now.
I've got to ask you, I've had more people over the last 4 or 5 months, when they want to talk LSU baseball, one of the first things they say is, what about Eric Walker? Is he, obviously he was a freshman All-American 2 years ago, didn't pitch last year. A lot of people are excited about the possibility of adding him to the staff because they remember what he was like as a freshman. I always, tell people, hey, listen, coming off of a surgery, when you sit out a year, you don't know what the future's going to be like. Some get better, some get worse. You just don't know. What are you seeing out of him? What can be the expectations for him in 2019?
Well, a really good thing for him was he had that Tommy John so late in the season his freshman year. actually after the season was over with. And as you know, Ronnie, I mean, I had Tommy John. I mean, you know, my freshman year have surgery, and you're trying to get back out there for the next year. So you start playing catch at 4 months. You know, he waited 6-7 months to even start playing catch. So they really delayed that because we knew he wasn't going to be able to pitch last season in the 2018 season. So he's 17 months out of surgery. He looked really good this fall. You know, sometimes you hear with Tommy John, they come back throwing harder. And we obviously haven't seen that with him yet. But, you know, the velo was very comparable. I thought the breaking ball was actually better. And, you know, he's always had that changeup. And the big thing for him is command. He's going to have to live, you know, in, out, up, down, move that fastball around to be able to, you know, get to the floor with that changeup and that breaking ball. So, you know, he had the fastball command. The changeup was good this fall. And obviously, like I said, the breaking ball took a step forward. So, you know, we're expecting big things out of him. I would expect him to open the season on Sunday and do his thing.
Talking to Nolan Cain, LSU baseball assistant coach, also recruiting coordinator, and that's important when your team was ranked #1 recruiting class in the country. So congratulations to the program as well as yourself on a great job. Well done. Just a couple more minutes left with Nolan. Let me get some snapshots from you on this. From the fall, from those that were healthy, give me a player or two on the pitcher's mound that really popped, stood out to you, that was somebody that did an outstanding job.
Oh, man, Landon Marceau, man, he's everything that we thought he was. We actually tried to get him to school last year as a high school senior, and he was really close to doing that and decided he wanted to go through the pro process. And, you know, he turned down quite a bit of money to come to school, but it's not it'll kind of remind you, not the delivery or the arm action or anything, but the command at a young age will remind you a lot of Aaron Nola. He's one of those guys, Ronnie, as you know. I mean, when guys throw over the top, they usually have that four-seam ride, you know. He throws over the top, and he has like this natural sink to it, and he can move it in and out, and it's going to be 88, 92, touching 94s. He's got a big league breaking ball. I would put it up there with Lang. Maybe not as hard of a pitch, whereas Lang's is like in the mid-80s, where his is in the upper 70s. You know, this would be a prototypical Skip Bertman guy, right? You know,
right.
Four-seam fastball, command with a hammer breaking ball. But, you know, his second best pitch might actually be that changeup, and that's the real separator for these young kids coming in is the changeup, to be able to have a three-pitch mix so you can be a starter. And, you know, we're expecting huge things out of him. I think he's going to be a guy that, you know, over 3 years probably could win 30 games or so. And the other one that I was really impressed with was the Chase Costello kid. His dad, Vinny Costello, actually played here at LSU for Skip back in Skip's early days. And, you know, big, strong, physical kid. He's, you know, 88, 93 with a slider in the mid-80s, and he also has good feel for a changeup as well. AD is extremely high on him. He's really athletic. It's really loose, clean arm, and really repeats his delivery well. So those two guys on the mound were really impressive. Drew Bianco as a hitter, and just the makeup. I mean, he grew up around college baseball. He's grown up in that dugout, the locker room, you know, in the coach's office with his dad. So a kid that just oozes confidence. He had 3 really big hits in those scrimmage games against UNO this fall. So you know he's not going to be scared of the bright lights. And you know, playing he's a lot like the Louisiana kids that we have, where like playing for LSU is kind of like playing for the Yankees. And you know, he's one of those kids. We really expect him to be a big gamer, and he's versatile. You know, third, second, first. You know, probably could play some left field. Going to get a chance at catching a little bit as well. So those are 3 guys that really caught our eyes this fall.
Nolan, thanks so much for the time. I you know, Brandon Marceau, a little bit I saw of him the one day I went out there was incredible, and he's one of those guys that I think, you know, LSU fans are going to be, thank God they didn't give him the money. Because he's going to be so good for 3 years if he stays healthy. Obviously, that's a big key to it. But we'll talk to you soon, and enjoy the run up to the start of the season, February 15th.
Well, thanks for having me on. What's up with Buzzy? Where's Buzzy been these days?
Buzz, he's usually about 1 for 4 these days. 1 show every 4 weeks. You know, until hunting season's over with. You know how it is.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Thank you, Nolan. Talk to you soon. As Nolan Kane does a great job as a recruiting coordinator for LSU. Obviously, they were ranked number 1 in the country. Super high expectations for LSU. Baseball, it's pretty much Omaha or bust. Paul Maneri will say it. I'll say it. If they don't make it to Omaha, the season will have been disappointing. That's the bar pretty much every year at LSU, but particularly this year when they're going to be preseason ranked in the top 3, 4, 5 in every single poll in the country. We'll take a timeout. When we come back on the other side, we've got a couple special guests that are going to be joining us. Dan Canterbury will be up next. We'll touch a little LSU baseball. We'll talk a lot about that trip over to the Fiesta Bowl. And then Henry Hayes, around 11:30 or so, we'll talk some NBA and LSU basketball. Don't go anywhere. Sports Shorts, presented by LeBears Casino. We'll be back right after this.
Help a local Louisiana child who is currently battling a life-threatening illness.
They think of their dream. This occupies their mind. And I've had so many parents tell me that that is the best thing that we could do.
104.5 ESPN is raffling
Heater
off a
outages
trip for 2 to
hurt
see the
everyone.
Tigers take on
Don't
the
be a
Longhorns.
victim.
All proceeds
Call
go
Accutemp
directly
and
to
schedule
Dreams
your
Come
maintenance
True,
check
a local
today.
nonprofit that can make a dream come true for these
Check out
kids.
the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows.
Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Sports Shorts Radio with Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis, and Buzzy Heidel on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome back to Sports Shorts presented by LeBears Casino. Joining us is the host of Tiger Zone Monday nights on Eagle 98.1 from 8 until 9 p.m. You can go out and check them out at Phil's Oyster Bar, get some great food, and see Dan Canterbury and Skip Bertman. And it'll be interesting as we get closer and closer to LSU baseball season. That show will get even better. Cano, Happy New Year to you. How you doing, sir?
Same to you, Jumbo. Happy New Year. It's going to be a great one in 2019, especially in baseball, I think.
Well, let's before we get to baseball, let's talk a little football. Fiesta Bowl. I know, alumni, TAF. A lot of folks went out there to Phoenix and Scottsdale and Glendale. All the reports came back glowing. Big LSU turnout.
Big LSU turnout. A lot of people, alums that normally don't get from the west to the east or the south, I should say, got there. But great LSU turnout. People were very, very hospitable out there. Since we'd never been to the Fiesta Bowl, it was really a unique experience, not only for the players and the coaches, but all the surrounding personnel. But all reports, everything sounded it was a great trip for everybody, and especially coming home with that victory against the UCF folks who were pretty vehement about their position in the playoff picture.
Yeah. As somebody who lived, was my home base was Phoenix from '89 until '96. That's a special place. I knew the LSU fans were going to love it. The weather's usually fantastic. It was actually kind of cold, which was kind of funny. People had scarves and some jackets and things, because usually this time of year it's not in the 40s and 50s like it was at times over there. But I heard everything went well. Now, that said, you pick up 10 wins. You win a bowl game. You knock off Georgia during the regular season. That usually lends itself to raises, extensions, and a good feeling about the program going into next year.
Well, you're right about everything. And I tell you what, just take a look at this time last year. Could you have ever predicted a 10-win season with Coach Orgeron and the boys? And I tell you what, there's a lot of credit has to be deserved to two people that came in, Joe Burrow and Cole Tracy, who changed the dynamic of our football team. And credit to Coach Orgeron and his staff to bring those graduate transfers in. And as we see now, Ronnie, the recruiting season goes all year round, because now it's everybody's signed. They got the next signing period coming up, and then it's graduate transfer season.
It's incredible. You mentioned Cole Tracy for a minute, Dan. We didn't know who this guy was. A year ago, we knew that they were getting a Division III kicker. And he won a bunch of awards, but people were like, well, yeah, but I mean, he kicks in front of 2,000 people a game. What's he going to be like in Tiger Stadium? This guy went and set all these records, should have been the kicker of the year in the country, and has stamped himself, this California kid who spent, less than a year in Baton Rouge is going to be a legend.
Well, let's face it. He and Joe Burrow are already legends.
Yeah.
And it shows one thing that I know coming here, from other places, grew up in New York, went to Miami, and ended up in Baton Rouge. The people here, if you treat the people here right and you do some things that make them proud, they will adopt you and you will never, ever leave. And these guys are going to be not only in Baton Rouge football, LSU football lore forever, but they're going to come back here. This is a second home for them now, and they've been adopted. And we're just glad that Burrow's back for one more year. But Cole Tracy, what a great impact to take the weakest part of the Tiger football team and turn it into the strength. It changed the whole offensive approach, I thought.
Well, and then now, because of his success and everything, and, you end up signing, the best kicker in the country. So,
right. Kicks a 59-yarder.
Yeah.
The other day.
Yeah, in the All-American game, kicked a 59-yard field goal. And so, now your future looks bright for the next few years in that position. And it's incredible. And then with Joe Burrow, his play lends itself to signing another quarterback. Now all of a sudden a position, you've got some depth, right? You got Joe Burrow back for a year. You got a couple behind him you feel comfortable about in the future there, and some others up the pipe. I mean, it's amazing what a difference just 8-9 months make.
Well, remember now, a lot of people don't understand this. The one thing besides, of course, the performance on the field that Joe Burrow did for LSU football for years to come is he didn't get hurt. He didn't have to play Miles
He
Brennan.
saved Miles Brennan, right?
Year.
Right.
You got another year, and what that does is he can kind of next year he's not redshirting. He already did it, so now he can go in, get some experience, but learn under Joe, learn how to be a leader, learn how to get bigger, get stronger, and then when it's his turn to take over, he'll do the same thing for the next round of quarterbacks. And as you know from playing, that's the key to recruiting. Fill up on the bottom and let them work their way up to the top, so to speak. So you want to have a junior, senior playing with a sophomore, freshman behind them, and recruits coming in and just keep cycling up that way. And I think Coach O has really done a good job in the 2 years he's been recruiting for us in getting that lined up. And now it's just about the right people to fill the spots you have, and don't make a lot of mistakes recruiting. And I think we're in good shape for years to come.
Talking to Dan Canterbury, you can check him out on Monday nights from 8 to 9 on Tiger Zone. He and Coach Skip Bertman live from Phil's Oyster Bar. I got to ask you, since you spent time as a coach, administrator, in the athletic department, and obviously every week get to hang out with Skip and pick his brain, but is there is there something in the pipeline for the future? Is there something that what NCAA can do, colleges can come up with, some kind of system to protect players in football that want to go pro? Because this is just this epidemic of guys shutting it down early, whether it's during the regular season, whether it's in the bowl games, not playing in bowl games unless it's a playoff Final Four deal. It's only going to get worse, and it's already getting bad. It's going to continue to get worse. So is there something that can be done maybe from an insurance side?
Well, there's a whole thing of insurance side, but you can talk about a lot of different things. But I think two things with the NCAA from the football season are going to come up that they have to deal with. And Mark Emmert, leading that organization, as we know from LSU, a very smart guy, very good guy on top of things. I think one is they gotta really figure out this targeting and add different levels of it and really define it, because it changed a lot of things in college football this year. And then, of course, what you're talking about with these, with the guys skipping the bowl games. I think the bowl game is going to be dealt with in some way, shape, or form, because the people that are running the bowls, the non-championship bowls, playoff bowls, they're going to have a say, because that affects their revenue, and they're putting out money for these bowl games. So I think that's something that's really got to be addressed. There's got to be some kind of protocol set up in order to skip a bowl game. Because let's face it, if teams are in that playoff, the 4-team playoff, those guys aren't going to skip the bowl game. They're going to play. But once they're not in that playoff system, now these guys are starting to contemplate their pro future, and it changes a lot of the perspectives. And I think that's something when they set up the playoff situation for football that wasn't really thought out or considered would happen, and now I think they have to address it for sure.
Do you think that if a player declares that he's going pro at whatever point in time, even if a guy declares he's going pro at the end of the season, let's say, that there will be a day soon where the NCAA says, okay, you can go pro, you can say you're going pro and still play in the bowl game and still sign with an agent? Because it might be that if a player is able to get $50,000 in his pocket to spread to his family for a month and a half before that bowl game, that he may still, he may play in it.
Well, I think you hit something that's real. The bowl games come after the season. Regular season's over. Guy says, I'm declaring for the draft. He just killed his eligibility, for the following year to come back, right? But he should still have his eligibility for the bowl game. That would allow the agent to front the money for an insurance policy to allow him to play in the bowl game and not be a violation of NCAA rules. I think that's probably the best way to do it, because to try to get the school to pay for it, the bowl to pay for it, or anybody else, as you know, in baseball, there's a lot of those Lloyd's of London policies.
Right.
And I think that may be the solution where, the agent, the family, and everybody else has got a pretty good insurance policy, much like a life insurance policy. Because let's face it, if a guy in football in a bowl game, if he's on one side of the ball, you're talking about 19 plays. And if he's a wide receiver, how many plays is he really in? And so I think the risk is very limited. It's like a hole-in-one in a golf tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
They probably when you run a golf tournament.
But besides the insurance policy, even if a guy's able to, just buy a new car, put his mama in a new apartment, those kinds of things on the, even though it's only a month, let's say, makes a difference in a 20-year-old's mind, right?
Sure. Let the agent take the risk and front the money, knowing where his draft status is. The guy's got to seek professional help. You're talking about guys looking at money as well that they've never dreamed about in their lives. And they don't know how to handle money at 20, 21 years old, and they've never had it. So you do have to let the agent step in there. But I think they can step in there once you make the decision, especially now the season's over. Let them do their thing. Let them get, like you said, let them front some money, get some things underway, because they're going to be managing their money in another 2 months. So, what's the big difference? I think the NCAA's got to kind of come off that a little bit and understand the situation so that everybody wins on this one.
Ken, thanks for the time. We'll make sure we check you out. Tiger Zone Monday nights 8 to 9 live from Phil's Oyster Bar on Eagle 98.1.
Yeah, Ronnie, thanks a lot, and good luck to you the rest of the year, and I look forward to seeing you in spring.
All right, sounds good. There's Dan Canaveri, does a great job on Monday nights, and of course during baseball season, it's going to come. That shows with Skip Bertman's going to come on right after the Pulmonary radio show that takes place over at TJ Ribs. So you can go check them both out. Good time. We'll take a break. Sports Shorts presented by La Bears Casino. We'll be back. Henry Hayes is going to talk a little NBA, NCAA basketball. That's coming up next. And Sharif Ishak a little bit later on.
The Bingle Tap Room, downtown Baton Rouge's only sports bar, invites you every Sunday for a free brunch buffet featuring $5.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows.
Install your new windows.
Clean our mess. And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Link.com.
My life be like, yeah. My life be like, yeah.
Sports Shorts Radio with Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis, and Buzzy Heidel on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Shorts. So I want to thank our guests that we had earlier. First hour, Joel Davis joined us. We had Lynn Rollins, Hall of Fame broadcaster, and then we had Nolan Kane earlier this hour from LSU Baseball. Dan Canaveri last segment, and joining us to talk a little hoops briefly here. Henry Hayes, our resident hoop expert, talk a little NBA and NCAA basketball. Happy New Year to you, Henry.
You as well, Ronnie. Good to be on.
So we got a bunch to get to and a short time to do it. So let's have rapid fire here with you. I want to get just some overall quick takes. Seems like things have gotten very negative around the Pelicans over the last few weeks, whether it's their play on the court as well as the belief that, it all kind of started with the road trip out to Los Angeles. We know that Anthony Davis and LeBron James went to dinner. That gained a lot of traction. And then the uninspired play by the team has – it's almost seems like all of a sudden in the last month it's now a foregone conclusion that Anthony Davis's days in New Orleans are coming to an end.
Well, yeah, it's not good right now. I mean, number one, what you didn't cover was if the season ended today, they would not be in the playoffs.
Right.
And that was not in the plan. They closed last year the regular season on a run, and then nobody
saw the sweep with the Trailblazers coming. Of course, they run into the buzzsaw that's the eventual champions of the Golden State Warriors. But you walk away from last year thinking, okay, Boogie went down. We made the trade for Mirotic. They play differently. They may have enough of a gimmick to give themselves a fighting chance with a top 2 or 3 player in the world in Anthony Davis, and it just hasn't happened. I mean, they're not closing games, which is, I think, one of their biggest issues. But frankly, Ronnie, I think that there's, the casual observer could say they just don't look that interested, and I do not think that bodes well for Dell Demps and Alvin Gentry. So I think, unless they go on a run here where they get 7 of 8 or 8 of 10 and get back in this thing, I think the sun might be setting on the Demps Gentry regime.
Well, last year prior to Cousins' injury, when and then all of a sudden the team got better. We all thought that this was going to be it, right, for Demps and Gentry. They played like this last year when they had Cousins and Davis in there. And then all of a sudden, the bizarre, inexplicable, turnaround of the program and from March on, and now all of a sudden there was this hope for the future. Well, now we're back to the same old thing that we saw for the last year and a half, which and there's not a fire there with this team. And I think it stems from their coach. I mean, he's not a particularly fiery guy. But what's so different about this team from last March and April and May that led us to believe that the future was bright?
Honestly and simplistically, Ronnie, they were making threes. I don't want to.
So Mirotic's play, I mean, at the end of the day, really?
Well, look, he's a classic stretch 4 in the NBA, which you have to have one of those guys these days, and he's very good. So I think, when he was making shots, you pair that with, again, Davis's game, which is unguardable. We've seen that time and time again. And then a healthy Drew Holiday, they were tough. They were a tough out. Now, when you start missing those shots, little things happen. Long rebounds lead to runouts. Your depth is questioned. Then they can key on Anthony Davis, that they can't play from behind. So it's a little bit of death by 1,000 paper cuts. But it all starts with the fact that, look, when you play pace and space, drive and kick basketball, you better make those shots, and they're not making them. And that, that's like saying when you're a running football team, if you can't run the football, a lot of other stuff's going to hurt you, and that's what's happening to them. And the other piece, like I said a minute ago, their body language just isn't good. And look, this is an 82-game regular season grind for these guys. So, okay, but these are the dog days of the NBA, and they got to pick it up now.
Henry Hayes joining us to talk a little quick NBA. Okay, if I ask you this question, who is the best player in the NBA right now?
Against my better judgment, Ronnie, right this second, James Harden, the Houston Rockets.
That shot he made the other night was against Golden State was unbelievable to win the game.
It really was. And here's the thing. The entire building knew who was going to shoot the ball.
Yep.
And he still got it off.
And Green fouled him. I mean, like he should have had a 4-point play. And the guy made a 3 in front of 2 defenders and got fouled on the play.
And don't think that game doesn't mean something for both. They even though it's late December, January, they're measuring each other. What Harden has done over the last 6 weeks has been really, we really haven't seen much, unless you're talking about Michael Jordan. We haven't seen a run like this. So right now he's the best in the league.
I hate the outfits. I hate the beard. I don't always like his attitude. He obviously hadn't played big games in his career yet in the playoffs, but the dude is unbelievable. The dude is unbelievable. Between the Euro step and the threes against anybody, he's incredible. Some controversy in the NBA, like there's trouble in La La Land with the Golden State Warriors.
Man, look, I think this is not to be unexpected. Anytime you're building a mini dynasty like those guys are, frankly, Ronnie, you get bored. The media gets bored. They're trying for any angle, any story. They get tired of reporting the wins, quote unquote. Everybody thinks they're going to waltz to another title this year. Rockets are weakened. The West is weakened. You really don't see anybody out of the East. Toronto, can they beat the Warriors? So what happens is you start to look at the individual personalities, the entourages. Draymond Green is such an easy he's such an easy target and an easy kind of story because he's such a polarizing figure. I personally think it's, I just don't give him much credence because honestly, Ronnie, I think these guys are supremely bored. I mean, look, last year we saw Steve Kerr let the players coach a game. And that was last year because they were bored. So I think if they could push the fast forward button to May, they would do it. And so, I don't think that this is really going to be problematic for the Warriors. And if it was a health issue, then you have my attention. But all this other stuff, it's off the court. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Henry, we're running behind, so we'll talk some LSU basketball next week. I want to have you back on after this opening week in the SEC. But give me 30 seconds on the Dunham Tigers basketball team in Baton Rouge. Big year they're having in basketball.
Big time. 2A school here in Baton Rouge, private school. 2 weeks ago, Ronnie, they won the next level tournament in Nashville, Tennessee. Beat the four-time defending Tennessee State champion Brentwood Academy, and then they beat a team called Whitehaven, which competes with Penny Hardaway's old school in Memphis, to win that tournament. Tonight, the Tigers will play for the All-State Sugar Bowl Classic against a team from New York City, from Brooklyn. This is a big-time tournament down in New Orleans. They're in the national bracket. Just to give you a sense, Ronnie, 3 years ago, Ben Simmons was the MVP of the All-State Sugar Bowl Classic. So this is a heavyweight national tournament. So it's great for Dunham to appear really on the national scene now. They're 16-2 going into this game, and kind of a local story team that's on a roll.
Yeah, they're taking on Bishop Laughlin tonight out of Brooklyn, New York. So congratulations to the Dunham Tigers. We'll be following them throughout the year. All right, Henry, we'll have you back on next week, talk a little LSU hoops.
Thanks a lot, Ronnie.
All right, have a good one. There's Henry Hayes. We're going to take a timeout. We come back. We'll go down to New Orleans. Sharif Ishak, who covers the Saints for WDSU, we'll talk to him about the Houdats. That's coming up next.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of...
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows.
Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Sports anchor and reporter, Baton Rouge's own Sharif Ishak. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you, Ronnie?
Great, man. I know this time of year is super exciting if you're a Houdat fan, and I know you're LSU grad and you covered The Tigers in Miami. Excuse me, LSU. Gee whiz, long day. Saints in Miami in 2009. Actually, technically January 2010. You were over there. Does this have that same feel? You know, as far as that magical run where they had the great regular season, finished 13-3, the number 1 seed. Is it kind of line up the same way for you?
Well, I mean, if you ask, a lot of the fans and, and what happened in that season and the teams they lost to, you would feel like, yeah, it's almost, pretty close and you could compare it since they lost to the Cowboys, Bucks, and Panthers in the same year. But for me, I think they're two different teams. I mean, the feel is there, but I feel like you're getting two different teams. I actually think the defense might be a little bit better in certain areas and the way they're able to complete some things late in the game and force turnovers. But you could certainly feel that, magical type of run. And I think the offense is a little bit more balanced. The one only issue from each side of the ball for me, Ronnie, is that they need another guy opposite of Michael Thomas on offense, and maybe Ted Jennings an answer since he came back. And, will Eli Apple be able to hold up on the other end of Marshawn Lattimore? And those are some of the questions that are going to get answered next Sunday when they play their first game in the division round.
Talking to Sharif Ishak, WDSU. You mentioned this defense. What is it about this defense that you think is, why they can win the Super Bowl this year?
Well, it's because I think late game situations, against the Pittsburgh Steelers, they needed some stops. They got a fumble on Stephen Ridley, then they had a fake punt stop, and then they, Sheldon Rankin, big defensive tackle, drops back into coverage and forces a turnover, fumble on Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, they would have probably at least tied the game at the end of the game, and the Saints would have had to play the Panthers the following week for the home field advantage. So it's those type of late game situations they've been able to be successful in. And I think it all started, funny to say, in Atlanta, week 3, in that final possession before, at the end of regulation, stopped the Falcons from going down the field to possibly kick the game-winning field goal. And over those last 8 weeks minus the regular season finale, that's when all the turnovers, the sacks, the quarterback hits and pressures, that's when they really started cranking it up and really started opening eyes. And, I think Dennis Allen, Aaron Glenn, Mike Nolan, that whole staff has done a very good job to get the defense in great places this season to get them ready for the postseason.
Should we read anything into the game last week against Carolina from a standpoint of Bridgewater's future?
No, man. He was playing with guys that were blocking from they were all on the street. You can't really take much into that. I mean, he was running for his life. Now, he did have time. There were some bad throws to Michael Thomas. He left him hanging on one, and Michael Thomas didn't appreciate that coming back on the sideline. So you could take very little from it. I mean, there's not really much you could take from the entire game. Those guys are out there. I know I said it like this. They said it all week. They wanted to play. They wanted the 14th win, and they wanted to play 100%. But it's like, when you grind for 16 weeks, and you're about to go on vacation for 2 weeks the next day, it's harder, to actually play that game at 100%, knowing you're about to go on vacation. You could say all you want, but playing at 110% the day before a vacation is tough. It's tough, man. They were out there trying not to get hurt. You saw Sheldon Rankins and Alex Okafor go down on their first drive. That's exactly what they didn't want. So luckily they're both fine, and they'll be ready for the game next week.
One last question before we let you go, Sharif. When you watch the wild card games this weekend, what's ideal for the Saints in your opinion? How do you want this thing to play out for matchup-wise?
They won't say it, but I know deep down inside they want the Dallas Cowboys because of how they ended their 10-game winning streak in Dallas on November 29th. After the game, when they lost to the Cowboys, Cam Jordan says, I wish them the best of success. I hope they keep winning games because I want to see them later in the playoffs. And I think that's who they want. They want to get that revenge. They want to avenge the one, that lost and, put an end to their winning streak. And I think that's who they're hoping for. The last team I think they want to see is the Seahawks. I know they're not the greatest team on the road, and their offense isn't the best, but they have a good defense, and good defenses go a long way in the postseason. So my gut tells me that the Cowboys are going to win. A lot of people are picking against them, but I think they win a close game, like a 24-20 type of game at home. I just think, Dak is starting to find somewhat of a groove, and I think that's who they would much rather face at home next Sunday afternoon.
Well, hey, look, at the end of the day, the Saints played as bad as they humanly possibly could play against the Cowboys and still had a chance at the end of the game. So, from that perspective, you would think it bodes well if they match up in a couple weeks. Sharif, thanks for the time, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, Bob.
All right, Sharif Ishak, WDSU sports reporter. We'll take a break. Final segment, Sports Shorts, coming up next.
BR Mattress Company is the only name.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call AccuTemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial
you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.